I would like to discuss something that happened some time ago. You may recall there was a suicide bombing in Kabul as we were evacuating from Afghanistan. And as a retaliatory strike to that bombing, as Joe Biden declared, we will get the people that did this, ISIS-K, they said it was. There was a retaliatory strike that didn't get ISIS-K, but what they did get was, I believe it was around 7 children, 10 civilians in total, including one person that worked for an American humanitarian organization, a nonprofit organization. But this article is from the AP News that details the following. Watchdog finds no misconduct in mistaken Afghan airstrike. This is absolutely astounding, and it's a perfect encapsulation of American imperialism and hegemony. Take a look at this article from the AP News. An independent Pentagon review has concluded that the U.S. drone strike that killed innocent Kabul civilians and children in the final days of the Afghanistan war was not caused by misconduct or negligence, and it doesn't recommend any disciplinary action. The review done by Air Force Lieutenant General Sami said found there were breakdowns in communication, and in the process of identifying and confirming the target of the bombing, concluded that the mistaken strike happened despite prudent measures to prevent civilian deaths. I found that given the information they had and the analysis that they did, I understand they reached the wrong conclusion, but was it reasonable to conclude that what they concluded based on what they had? It was not unreasonable. It just turned out to be incorrect. What a load of jargon, said. He is the Inspector General of the Air Force and is considered independent as he had no direct connection to Afghanistan operations. His review said the drone strike must be considered in the context of the moment, as U.S. forces under stress were being flooded by information about threats to troops and civilians at the Kabul airport. Just days after a deadly suicide bombing, thousands of Afghans were swarming the airport trying to get out of the country following the Taliban takeover. Said found that better communication between those making the strike decision and other support personnel might have raised more doubts about the bombing, but in the end might not have prevented it. Said was asked to investigate the August 29 drone strike on a white Toyota Corolla sedan, which killed Zemarai Ahmadi and 9 family members, including 7 children. Ahmadi, 37, was a longtime employee of an American humanitarian organization. What a sad story. What a sad story. Now, where I want to start is the Pentagon did an investigation. I'll repeat that. The Pentagon did an investigation as if their own independent investigation. So we trust the Pentagon to come to the conclusion that what happened was unethical and a war crime and people should be jailed over it? Of course not. Of course they're going to come out with the mumbo jumbo that I just read to you. Let me read to you a little bit more. While said report does not find individual fault or recommend discipline, he said commanders may decide to take administrative actions once they review his report. Oh, so the commanders, they'll feel bad and they may take actions. He says they may fire somebody or decide to discredential or restrain personnel. How sad and disgraced is the American military. This is absolutely insane to me. There's no overseers, no just overseers. They're overseeing themselves, and they bought the politicians. And so these things are, they do these things like it's regular. And then they come out and say, after we find out that they actually didn't get the quote unquote terrorists that they always warn us about. They got civilians, they got children, innocent civilians and children, mind you. And then they come out and say, oh, our intentions were good. It's a mistake. We didn't mean it. We'll just do better in the future. How many times have they said that? How many times have we heard that? We've been in Afghanistan, or we were in Afghanistan for 20 years. 20 years, situations like this were happening. This just got a lot of play because it happened on our way out. And the media was flipping out and in a frenzy because they didn't want us to leave, because Raytheon, Boeing, Halliburton, Lockheed Martin, all these different military contractors and companies and what have you, they donate to our national media, okay? They fund them, they receive money from them, so they carry their narrative for the establishment. You see, they all have a genuine belief based on the information they had and the interpretation that was a threat to U.S. forces, an imminent threat to U.S. forces, he told reporters during a Pentagon briefing. That was a mistake. It's a regrettable mistake. It's an honest mistake. I understand the consequences, but it's not criminal conduct, random conduct, negligence. Then what the fuck is it? What the fuck is it? You're trying to get terrorists, but you kill 7 children, 10 civilians in total. If that's not negligence, if that's not criminal conduct, then what the fuck is? What, you gotta come out and say, yeah, I purposely bombed 7 children and 10 civilians in total, one of which was an American worker for a nonprofit humanitarian organization. And then you throw criminal charges on the guy? That's what has to happen? It has to be an admission that's so obvious that everybody and their fucking mother can pick it up? No, it's not. It doesn't have to be that obvious. Okay? If they actually were careful about the shit that they do, if they actually had a heart and a soul, and if they weren't just profit driven, trying to make money off of shit all the time, then maybe, and if we didn't live in a corrupted society and the history wasn't what it was, then maybe you wouldn't see these types of things. But that's not our reality, okay? The history is what it is. You can't believe any fucking thing these people say. Look, man, Joe Biden's a war criminal. All these people involved with this situation is criminals. I love how they got a guy that's a part of the U.S. military. He's on the Air Force. He's a lieutenant general for the Air Force. They got him because he wasn't involved with the Afghanistan pullout and said, oh, he'd offer an unbiased opinion. I have an idea. Why not let the people decide? Yeah, why not let the American people decide, you know, if these people actually committed crimes or not? That'd be absolutely amazing to see. Or let's not put it in the hands of these professional military officers. Don't we have civilian control over the military? Oh, but then again, our politicians, the people that would fall in line to make these decisions if these professionals don't, they are funded by them. I mean, it's a cabal, it's corruption. They're bought and owned by the military-industrial complex, including the rest of the entities that we know own them and that they're slaves to and beholden to. So it wouldn't even make a difference in that regard if that situation was the one that we're dealing with. But this is absolutely unfortunate. I hate to hear about things like this. It'll probably happen again in the future unless somebody actually steps up and calls for a change. Joe Biden got us out of Afghanistan, which was good, but that call for a retaliatory strike to get people that we don't even know who they are, how big of a group they make up, nothing about the people, but we'll do the retaliatory strike, we'll saber rattle and puff our chest out. Absolutely insane, ridiculous. But as I stated earlier in the video, it's a perfect encapsulation of American imperialism.